Hello everyone and welcome to One Autistic Person. This is the 12th video in a 50 video series that I'm doing looking at the Autism Quotient statements / questions, which is the Autism Quotient is a pre-screening questionnaire that is used sometimes as part of the autism assessment process. It's used usually prior to going through the process, before you go through the official process, and it's just to sort of give the assessor an idea of where you sit in relation to things that are considered autistic traits. As part of the diagnosis process, everything in relation to our traits often are looked at as deficits because to get a diagnosis, they need to be looked at as a deficit, and you know, they truly are deficits generally. But what I wanted to do was try and flip that narrative with these videos, and for us as autistic people to try and either look at them as look at things as a benefit if possible, so see if there are positives from these traits that we can use, or if there isn't a way of looking at it as a positive, as there have been for the last few videos where it's been sort of around social interactions. It's not necessarily been around turning it into a positive. It's been more looking at what mitigating things we can put in place, whether we can make adjustments, whether we can do things differently to make this situation more positive and feel more positive about it before, during, after, and if we can take any positives from it. So this one I feel like has a lot of positives. So after doing a few videos, because I've been doing them back to back, after doing a few that have been quite difficult to find a positive, a real true positive to it, I actually feel like this really benefits me in life. So this, like I say, is the 12th question on the Autism Quotient, and that is, I tend to notice details that others do not. And this is an absolute yes. I definitely agree to this. So for me, I think with this, it allows us to look at things in a way that maybe other people don't. So we do notice things that other people don't, which can be frustrating to people because we can highlight it for people. It can be frustrating to ourselves when we can't make change. But it is a really good positive if we're going to do something that we can make change with, or if we're going to do something that somebody else hasn't done before. We can see a different route through things, and I think certainly from a work perspective, or from a self-employment perspective, or I think it allows us to look at things outside of what is currently being done. So quite often at work, I have sort of trailblazed new ideas of ways of working that are more efficient, because I'll look and think this isn't working efficiently, and then I will ruminate over trying to see how we deal with that, and I can see different ways of doing things rather than looking at this is the way it has to be done. Ironically, because my autism does mean that quite often I am quite stuck to my ways in the way that I want to do things, but when it comes to sort of a work process or a societal process or anything like that, I can look at how things could be different, and it allows me to, because I can see details in things that others can't. An example of it is the industry I work in currently does things, in my view, in a very inefficient way. We've got lots of sort of islands of shops that do things all themselves, and they're making decent amounts of money, but I in the last employment, not this one that I'm in now, the previous one that I was in a position where I could change things, and we made it so that we basically centralised everything and distributed it back out, but that distributed it out so that each shop was getting things that it could get the best selling price for. The stock shops that needed higher levels of stock but were selling things for cheaper, they could get that, and it meant that all shops it did two things. And at first, people were really worried about it because they thought they wouldn't get the things that they would need. But what I wanted to do was make it so that they had everything they needed. But one of the things that other people couldn't see that I could is that it would mean we could reduce the amount of work that was needed to be done in each individual shop, because things were coming to them pretty much ready to go already. So it was cutting out about 40 hours plus worth of work a week. from a shop, but we weren't going to cut any hours from the shop because the shops were making more money. So we doubled the income in the shops at the same time as not having to decrease any staffing, but the staff being more efficient and not having as much to do on a day-to-day basis. So that's just one example of things. It also helps with me with things like when I'm doing investigations at work. So I might see things that during an investigation that other people won't. I might see details that other people have missed. I might look into the more finer detail of something where somebody might just get to take something for verbatim when somebody said it. I might look into it and go, actually, no, this is we've got further evidence to say that this is not necessarily the way it was, and that can go both ways. It could be really positive for somebody that they may not have even realised something themselves. So it's, I think from a work perspective, it's definitely a positive to notice details that other people don't, because it allows you to just be able to think differently to people. It does come with its own challenges because from a social perspective, I struggle to explain my thought process to people quite often, and I struggle sometimes to bring people along with me, but I'm very good at creating the strategy, and if I can get enough people to hear what I'm saying, 9 times out of 10 that change that I'm making is going to be positive, because I'm going to go into so much detail and looked at every different aspect of it and looked and seen where changes can be made so that things can be more efficient. So I think that for me, this is probably one of the most positive parts of being autistic. It does again also come with other issues around the fact that because I become so hyper focused on it, then I can burn myself out. So I have to keep check of that, and I have to make sure that I'm not burning myself out when I'm trying to change something. And but in the end, I often come up with different ideas that other people may not have come up with, because they wouldn't have considered changing something because they can't see a different way of doing it. And I think that comes from seeing details that other people can't. So you can see that this is the way this is, that's the way that is, but if this changed and that changed, they would work better together. Because you can also, because I think I can often, when I'm talking to my team, I can see that where they're saying that they're having issues are the things they also don't want to let go of. They're worried about letting go of. So so being able to find a different way of working is going to make things better for them, but sometimes other people don't see that. So yeah, I think this is about. I think that the positive that really comes from this is that ability to be able to think outside of the box and not be constrained by saying this is the way it is, so therefore you see it the way it is. I think that quite often as autistic people, we can actually see how things could be, and because of the fact that we become so hyper focused on things, we will break it right down and break the detail down massively. And I think that comes down to, again, from a bottom up thought process, that you're looking at the detail, which can again come with its own challenges, but because you're looking at that detail, you'll probably notice where things can change, where things aren't working quite as well, and probably see why it isn't working, rather than just being frustrated at the fact that it isn't working. And I think it allows us to be quite good at strategic roles. I think planning and other traits that we have generally around planning and routine and things like that help with it as well. But yeah, I think it allows us to see things through a completely different lens at times, and as much as that can come with its challenges to bring people along with you, I think it does allow us to be innovators in things, and we don't necessarily, like I say, we don't go, well, this has been done that way, so it has to be done that way. That we can often see that there is a different route to things, and that comes from seeing detail in things that other people might have missed and may not see as important or necessary, whereas I find I sometimes put more importance on certain things that maybe some neurotypical people won't. So as long as you're able to sort of embrace that and be able to talk to people about it, and it's that, for me, it's getting over that barrier to bring people along with me and not run at 1,000,000 miles an hour and slow myself down, so that I've got to really overly explain why I think this will work and have everything planned out ready to say this is how it will work and this is how it will benefit you, which I sometimes forget to do. I forget to tell people how it will benefit them because I kind of just assume that they'll know. So yeah, for me, this is a really positive thing. The fact that I've been able to notice that there are details that other people may not see has allowed me to make some really positive changes within my work environment, and allowed as I work in something in an industry that's income generating, that's allowed increase of income, which is fantastic. So, as always, I'd love this to become a community for people to talk about how they feel that they deal with their autistic traits in a positive way. So if you would like to comment, subscribe, share, that would be perfect. Like I say, I know that's going to take time, but I really would like to see this turn into a community of people talking positively about autistic traits. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.